Hello, this is Michael Ensor, and today we have a very special advertising report card for DRI Roofing. This is a roofing company in Southwest Florida. It is a top-rated roofing company that has a lot of competition moving in post-hurricane and also pre-hurricane. The old competition is not as competitive as the new competition moving in and growing rapidly. We're going to break that down in this report card. Let's jump right into it. Quick review on what the advertising report card is. We do initial review of all of your marketing strategies that you have active and the ones that you want to do, ones that you haven't done, and we collect that information at the very beginning. Then we do a video recording of those campaigns. That's what this is right here. We're going to give instructions on how to improve and then also find gaps of what your competitors are doing, and then also find what they're doing well that you're not doing so that you can start doing it. Then we're going to have a Q&A discussion on this report, dive in deeper onto whatever we can find, and then we're going to give guidance on what you can do next to put what you understand from this report into action. All right, so jumping right into it. First thing at first is the assets. There's going to be reports here, and more will be continued to be added here at the end, but the main thing is having some PPC data and SEO data that's third party, plus a revenue project calculator. Basically what this is anything that you're working on as far as projects go for PPC, for SEO, you're going to want to see where that investment's going to get you as far as the revenue so that you make sure that you stay in the black as far as your return on investment. The goals for this are just to discuss the issues with the website, making sure that you are ranking well against your competitors, that you are also doing good bidding on the Google ad side, and see where people are at on the social ad side to find out what your competition's doing and what you could be doing better. SEO specifically, the biggest thing that we found when doing the audit is that there is a secure page, the HTTPS, and then the HTTP. And they're both the home pages. But what had happened at some point in time in the history of the domain is that it was moved to HTTPS, which is recommended for all websites. This was been recommended for years now, and it does have a ranking factor. The problem is a lot of people don't know what that does when you move from HTTP to HTTPS. If you have an example, a web development team that is not really familiar with SEO or the importance of 301 redirects from the old link to the new link, both links can stay active and indexed. So what you end up happening here is an HTTP link which no longer exists, which is holding the average position effectively hostage from the live homepage, which is HTTPS. So in simple terms, what that means is that the website's homepage is literally competing with itself for ranking. The problem with that is it's like cannibalization, where one page is going to gain keyword ranking, the other page isn't. You can see here that HTTPS is doing its best to try to catch up now that it's live, and it is the actual homepage with 18 keywords ranked for it, but its average position is 63. HTTP, the old domain URL, which is not the primary page anymore, is ranking for 23 keywords at position 2. And those keywords are branded terms, and then some of them are also service terms. So basically the current site is competing with an old link, but it's the same site. And this is confusing for those who aren't familiar with this process, but in reality, anytime you move a site from HTTP to HTTPS, you can literally do nothing and just wait for Google to re-index the site. That can take a long time, and in this instance, it's taking a very long time. It's keeping the site back from ranking. And that's important because it's clear that SEO work is being done. You can see the blog posts are going out. Metal Roof is trying to climb as much as it can for rankings as well on that page. But end of day, the site's never going to rank as well unless this is figured out. Now, I can't tell if they have added 301 redirects at this point yet that are proper for ranking, but this is on the outside scan. So just seeing this is indicative of there being an issue with the way that the website should be ranking. And all SEO work that goes into this site moving forward will be inhibited by this unless this is troubleshot. So what you would want to do is make sure that you're using the Google Search Console to see what errors are being flagged for the site. And then also on the website side and on the server side, make sure that the HTTPS redirects are in place so that this is not an issue anymore. This effectively is an easy fix, But it's one of those things where it's like that saying, when's the best time to plant a tree? Yesterday. You should get this done as soon as possible because it's going to take time for Google to completely override the redirects from the old URL to the new one. Since the storm hit and search volume has increased greatly for roofing, including brands that have referral and recognition like DRI, you can see here that we've had some keywords improve, new keywords, but a much larger gap as far as the lost rank goes. The problem that kind of doubles down on this, which I'm going to dive into in a second, is that we're gaining unique keyword rankings like copper roofs, tin metal roofs, a lot of flashing related issues, a lot of flashing related keywords, and then some gutter stuff. But then there's core keywords dropping to competitors like roofing companies near me, roofing company's city name. The type of keywords that you're really gaining the majority of conversions from are dropping, while keywords that might not have as much purpose as far as the overall revenue goal of a company would be are not gaining. So that's the problem I wanted to point out here. First of all, if you look at the overall organic search position and where the ranking is coming in from, you can see that the majority of the new traffic is coming from actual branded terms like Douglas Restoration, Douglas Roofing, DRI Roofing, Douglas Port Charlotte. So you have a lot of variations of the brand name, which is good. This is a good thing because a lot of people who aren't sure what the name of the company is, but are still finding it and you're still ranking number one and you're including keywords like Port Charlotte, Florida, it's not a bad thing. But you don't want it to replace the overall effort of what you're actually trying to rank for, which are core keywords that drive revenue. And again, the core keywords are direct service near me, best rated, top rated service provider in city name. So those variations are the ones that are going to drive revenue, like roofing companies in Port Charlotte. What is actually starting to pop up on rankings, which is not as much of a priority, are things that are maybe more associated with the blog post and content. But the point of having the blog post and content is not to rank auxiliary type keywords that might not be a purpose. The point of it is to prop up the core keywords. But what's happening here is you have some things like Crown Roofing Tiles, Port Charlotte permitting, unless you guys are actually doing permits for like selling permits. It's like, what's the real point of this? If someone searches Port Charlotte permitting, they're probably a construction company. Dwelling roof, how do you repair a flat roof? So there are some things that are like, I guess you can call them like tertiary or like kind of like next and to the corner of your core purpose. Roofers to avoid. Maybe you want to show up for that term. I don't know if I would, because roofers to avoid and then DRI shows up at the very top, and maybe the blog post is how to avoid these types of roofers. But in reality, the connotation is roofers to avoid. That's a roofer to avoid. So it's kind of like, what's the purpose here? What's the real meaning behind trying to rank for these keywords? What I'm understanding from this is that there's new content going out that's supplemental to the core content, and you can't just stuff a website with roofing companies at Port Charlotte or in Port Charlotte. But you do want to prop those keywords up, and I do not see that happening from this. Instead, what's starting to appear is new keywords and improved rankings for keywords that are irrelevant, while the core keywords are losing ranking. Another thing I wanted to mention is the organic competitors. One thing that happens at the beginning of every report card is an onboarding form is submitted with information regarding who the competition is. When we took a closer look at the competition and who was growing and who was there, a lot of the companies that were in the onboarding form, like your Bill Walther Roofing, your RX Roofing, some of them were gaining in competition, which we'll go over those individually in a moment. But what I wanted to point out is a surge in other brands that are competing on the SEO front, and the fact that they are direct competition with DRI, and DRI is still not in the head. DRI has great maps positioning because of the reviews. It has over 200 reviews. The reviews look really good on the top level. They look like the top reviewed company in Port Charlotte. If you look for roofing companies in Port Charlotte, they're showing up on maps. DRI is. You look at the organic listings, you're getting beat up by all your competition. That maps listing is highly contingent over the location of the person when they do that search, because Google's optimization for local maps listing search is based off of how close they are to your actual physical location, regardless if your storefront is a place that people go. That's really important to understand because you start to have a sphere of influence like 5 miles, 10 miles, 20 miles. The farther out you are, the less that ranking on the maps, the less that those reviews are going to matter. It's a really important thing to understand because the organic strategy is being held back by those two errors that I just discussed earlier, the HTTPS issue and the HTTP issue. And in addition to that, the site itself, from a technical SEO standpoint, is just missing core things. These core things include structured data items, pages with duplicate descriptions, duplicate title tags, redirect chain, which unfortunately has something to do with the 301 redirects with the HTTP to HTTPS, meaning that some of these pages, as they get loaded, they just do this. They don't actually load, or they keep getting shot back and forth. So whatever this site moved from HTTP to HTTPS, the way that it was moved was objectively problematic, and it needs to get fixed and troubleshot to make sure that this issue doesn't proceed. Another thing, too, about the SEO managed strategy is on month 1 of the work that's being done, you want to make sure that this technical audit is 100% cleaned out. I mean, you have more warnings down here about word count, text to HTML ratio, JavaScript loading slow. The HTTPS is actually leading to an HTTP page at one point in time. So the homepage is heavily conflicted with ranking. Things are going back and forth in the wrong direction. HTTP should be going to HTTPS. Not even sure how this was implemented, but a lot of the times SEO providers and SEO people conduct that technical analysis up front, and then they're just producing content and checking rankings. If you really want to manage the SEO program, you need a technical audit every single month because new content that comes out. You want to make sure that it's technically accurate. New requirements from Google that roll out. You want to make sure that they're implemented. The structured data items, 100%, is because old structured data is on the site. It's not updated to what needs to be done and what Google is asking for. And it's across 36 different pages. So just cleaning these things up would be important. But then also, when major website changes occur, when new pages are created, when technology changes, HTTP to HTTPS, a technical audit should have been done after the site transfer. And it wasn't. And when I mean site transfer, I mean introducing the SSL that creates the HTTPS on the site. I don't mean to get super technical on this, but from an SEO standpoint, this is frustrating because the site looks like it's ready to rank. It's showing up for these keywords that are not primary, not secondary, but kind of just like auxiliary. So it's ranking for keywords based off of new content getting put out, but it's not ranking competitively for competitive keywords because of this issue. So it's kind of like, if this just would have been fixed, things would have been better, but it's not being managed. The technical side of this is not being looked at. Otherwise, these errors wouldn't so readily be available to get flagged and pulled up. So next we're going to jump into the PPC side, but I wanted to kind of do a quick overview on the SEO just real quick. The site's ready to rank. The managed aspect of it is not occurring, but then also what's actually being done? What's the purpose of these blog posts? Why are they propping up keywords that are not competitive? Why is the growth of the website more informational than it is transactional? And what that means is the content that's being produced and the way it's ranking and the keywords that it's ranking for are like top of funnel informational. They're not find me somebody who I can work with today. So not only is the technical thing an issue, but the overall effort seems steered towards just getting keywords to rank. Maybe it props up the report showing, hey, look, we got new keywords ranking. But in reality, there is a direction problem on the SEO strategy that needs to be rectified. I think that there needs to be a breakdown of the cities you're trying to rank in, the services you're trying to rank in, and a keyword cluster strategy based off of getting those pages to rank. Because not only are you having technical errors, but you have a lack of direction that's resulting in what can be seen as a lack of favorable results. So on the PPC overview, the one thing I really want to point out here is, first of all, we don't have access. When I say we, I mean you and I. It looks like the provider won't provide any details on the account except for custom reports that they pull, which is purposely leaving off data. That's resulting in more questions than answers. But the main thing, after pulling through some third-party tools that scan the internet every day and collect data on different websites that are advertising, is that it seems like the SEO strategy and the PPC strategy are equally off. Douglas Restoration, a keyword that you're bidding on. Yes, always bid on your brand name, because competition can do that too, and you can steal traffic from your competition. It's called a conquest campaign. We do it all the time. It works. So you want to make sure that you're position one on paid search for your brand name, especially if you're in a competitive market or you're a competitive business or you have high competition. After that, steel shingles is a manufacturer keyword. It's not a roofing keyword. Cape Coral Roofing and sheet metal. Cape Coral Roofing, not a primary city based off a submission. DRI does work in Cape Coral. Is it the focus? No, but why sheet metal? Why is that a PPC keyword? Roofing contractors, Cape Coral. Okay, good. Minor roof repairs. Revenue comes to mind here. Why are we bidding on this? PDF roofing competition. Install flashing on porch roof, like this keyword here. That is a DIY keyword. People aren't searching that to find a roofing company. They're searching it to find their own ability to do the fix themselves. Roofers in Venice. Metal Roof, Florida. Not Metal Roofing Company. It's just, and then you also have some Spanish search words. Compañías de Roofing in Florida. Not a specific city, just you have a Spanish keyword that's projecting the entire state of Florida. The effect of metal roofing sheets. It's just, it's weird, honestly. It's just a really weird array of keywords to bid on, and it doesn't seem focused at all on the purpose of what you guys are trying to do on the advertising, especially from the onboarding sheet, but just from my personal knowledge of the services you're offering, the metal roof tile. Like, where's tile? Tile effect is the only keyword I saw. Steel roof. It's just, you have a lot of keywords about services that are just, they're not driving revenue the same way that certain keywords can. It's odd. And that's the one thing I was going to mention. I kind of did a breakdown of this here. But one thing I wanted to point out is the keyword waste report. Basically, it's showing keywords that other people are not bidding on because they're not competitive. And that the keywords are not being used by competition because they're not driving revenue. The keyword waste report is you spending money on keywords that you shouldn't even need to spend money on them for because no one else is. There's no priority for them. The majority of the keywords we were able to pull from this report are in the keyword waste report as well. Now, as far as the ad copy goes, they exist. So ads have been getting served. I'm sure that you are aware of that because you've been paying the bill on the ad budget, but it's murky because you can't really find out exactly what's going on. But the main thing that I found, and I wanted to point this out, DRI Roofing, shingle roofs. Where is the value proposition here? Where is the detail? Where's ranked number one in Port Charlotte? Shingle metal tile roofs. Why are we limiting the ability to use Google's tools to make a better ad? I haven't actually seen ads like this in a long time because back in the day, and I'm 200 years old in the marketing industry, but we're talking 2011, 2012, 2013, people would just put up ads because it was not as competitive and just, it's a broken clock is right 2 times a day. You're going to get some leads eventually. But in 2023, things are just hyper competitive, data driven, artificial intelligence is coming in. We personally split test dozens and dozens of headlines to make sure that our ads are always getting clicked over other ads. So, family owned and operated, good value prop. But it's just, we're really lacking here. Roofing services, roof repair, Florida. Are simple roof repairs your priority? My personal experience with DRI would say that they are slotted behind full roof replacement, slotted behind insurance-related roofing work. And it's really missing the mark here. I think that there's a lot of room for improvement. And just looking at this ad, it just makes me think of like the set it and forget it idea. It's like they mentioned shingle, metal, tile, and flat roofs in the literal second description line. Like that's not even guaranteed to show on when the ads show up. The headlines are and the first description line is. So it's concerning that the quality of the ads are at this level. In addition to that, the competition growth before the storm and after the storm. You can see here that some of the people who are submitted, like Bill Wather, Apex Roofing, they're not really as competitive on the PPC side. They are more legacy. They're established. Maybe they feel like, we're already successful. Why be more successful type of mindset? Or we're going to be successful anyways. Why try? You know what I mean? Like, what's the point of being competitive if we're already established? And I think that there's a lot of legacy and old company mindsets that are not just in roofing, but in all industries, where if someone experiences some rapid success, they just decide to kind of clock out on the topic. Like, what's the point? Like, I'm already successful. It's like I'm way more successful than I thought I was going to be, maybe. So what's the point of being more competitive? Like, what's the whole drive there? Not everybody's Kobe Bryant, more. But some of the competition moving in is Roof RX is really just, it's overtaking the competition, but also DRI big time. At one point in time, they were doing about quadruple the spend, and now they're doing a little bit less than double the spend of DRI, and they're netting that traffic and they're netting those opportunities. I can only imagine that Roof RX is literally blowing up right now as a company because they're netting all this traffic where the competition is not doing anything about it. Last but not least, I kind of touched on this at the beginning of the PPC, and I'm going to leave this paragraph for the decision makers to read, but it's 2023. We do digital dashboards for everybody that we work with because it shows what we're doing. It gives insight into what's working, what's not, what regions are we in, what counties are we in, what zip codes are we in, for what keywords, what's the cost per click, what's the cost per lead, is it a phone call, is it a form submission? Where's the details? Why can't you get any details from your current strategy? How are you supposed to give feedback to the person who's steering your ad budget if you don't even know where it's going? This is a common symptom, common problem where companies find a company and they become successful with them, but it's not a company that when they're working with them, they really are garnering any insight. It's just, here's your report, here's what was spent, here's a lead count. If you have any questions, let us know. It's like, okay, well, what kind of leads are these? Are these shingle roof leads? Are these metal roof leads? Are these tile roof leads? Are they from this city? Are they from that city? If you can't sift through that data to understand where your ad budget is going, there is no expectation that you as a company will ever be able to really truly understand the ROI on the campaign or be able to steer the budget. Like, let's say you want more metal roofs or more tile roofs. It's way more than just adding some keywords to the campaign. You can keep it that simple. Some people don't drive their car with their hands on the wheel. They use their knee. You know what I mean? The effort and the work that goes into steering the campaigns is similar. You can be carefree and careless if no one's actually holding you accountable. I mean, it's like almost every marketing person's dream, right? Collect the check, tweak a couple things, a couple knobs, and then that's it. But them not giving you the transparency that I understand has been asked for is indicative of the work not getting done. And then if you see these reports, objectively speaking, it's not. So, last but not least, I wanted to jump into the social ads report. Main thing here is Douglas Roofing has no social ads running. I understand that there's a secondary page of a roofing brand that has generated leads. Every business on Facebook that has a business page and an ad account has to be an actual business now. Having off-branded or non-registered businesses, especially in construction and contracting, now on Facebook is against terms of service. It's a matter of when, not if, they shut that ad account down and or that page as well. You can do a whole lot of gray area stuff on the internet, black hat even, but if you're violating the terms of service, it's not like a strategy to build on. It's like, You might be able to build something really quick, but it might not last. And that's not my opinion. The terms of service on Facebook dictate this to the point to where when you go to launch ads on Facebook, they're asking for business credentials now. They're asking for proof that you are a business. They're asking for an article of incorporation to be submitted. And this is just the reality of people conducting fraud and Facebook having to combat that, TikTok, Instagram having to combat that. So now they just ask for more information to make sure that who's advertising is real. I'm sure everybody's familiar with how crazy social ads have been ever since the past couple of elections, which is the main motivation for validating that who's advertising is a real person, is an American person, is an American company. Apex, 0 ads. Bill Walther Roofing. First competitor with ads. These ads are bad. This could easily get beat out by anybody who wanted to do social ads and put these ads next to any other social ad that you can create with just a little bit more effort. You're going to dwarf them. The images are bad. They're square in a landscape format. The copy is just copy and pasted from the headline of their website, which is just kind of weird. Here, let me pull this up. It's often imitated, never duplicated. Like, I get that they're branding, but like, where's the like the value prop? Where's the promo? Where's the good imagery? Where's the video? Where's the headline? This is just vaulting people to the homepage of their website. Yes, like I said, a broken clock gets the time right twice a day. They're probably getting leads from this. I would not say it's probably a lot. I would say their cost per lead's probably not favorable. It looks like they've actually launched and taken down ads a few times. If you click on this link, it'll open you up to their actual Facebook ads library, so anybody can go in here from this report and look at their ads. But you can see here, these are launched on November 30th. So whatever they were doing, they definitely clocked it back and switched it up. I don't think they switched it up in the right direction. I cannot imagine these ads being worse prior. We don't have access to those now, but yeah. This is something that DRI could easily beat out. But one thing they can't easily beat out without a strong strategy is RoofRx's strategy. Not to tout these guys, because objectively speaking, this is just an audit. But from a marketing standpoint, they're doing a lot of things right here. Okay, so we're going to run through what they're doing right, and then I think that this should get implemented for DRI because social ads are pretty nominal in cost when it comes to who you're trying to project these messages to. In an area that was so rapidly hit by the storm, the general population is looking for reputable companies, and people are referring companies they've never even used before or heard from a friend or a neighbor used. So just getting that branding out there is not a terrible thing. And then also the auction on PPC is always going to be more expensive in contracting, which we'll go over here shortly, the cost per click projections. But main thing here is, look at this ad copy. $750 off workhouse metal tile roof. Coupon must be presented. Valid for residential projects only. Estimate must be over $10K. Promotional value, exclusivity, finance is mentioned, so flexibility, qualification at the $10K or higher. And then let's look at this other ad. Call to action. Big old phone number, outlined with green on a dark background with white. High contrast. A blind person could see that number. The value props in the actual primary description. Residential and commercial. Not just roof and replacement. Custom homes and new construction. Whether you guys do that extent of work or not, they're listing out their propositions. They're listing out their services. This is not the best advertising strategy I've ever seen. It just happens to be one of the best in Southwest Florida right now currently based off of the competition listed. And we also pulled the competition list based off of SEO and PPC. RoofX is the only company we came across that has a competent SEO, PPC, and social ad strategy across the 3 different platforms. Would not be surprised if this is the top company in the area, if not already, soon. Because whether they have the teams to fulfill the work or the ability to net the revenue, the inbound effort that they're going to have from these, they're never going to have a slow day with leads. And that's an important thing to look at is, okay, well, how do we get more leads? It's like, is that the conversation? If it is, okay, well, then this is definitely a route you can take. but how are you doing it? What's the level of skill that is going into that? And then last but not least, Roof Smart, no ads running. So that is 30-minute mark for the walkthrough. We'll do the one-on-one next, and anything addition that you guys want or need looked into, we can always make more videos and go through more detail in person as well. But the main thing is that DRI is the #1 rated company in Port Charlotte. It has helped drive the SEO. PPC-wise, it's missing the mark. SEO efforts, missing the mark. Social ads efforts, missing entirely. Other competitions creeping up. It's going to be one of those things where it's like, hey, DRI is successful. I think that if you did no marketing for the rest of the existence of the company, you'd still be successful off reputation. How successful you would be against the competition. How far do you want to take it? How much do you want to grow? 100% subjective. It's up to the decision makers at the end of the day how they want to tool this. But my advice is, if you're gonna be a bear, be a grizzly bear. If you're gonna step into the ring, you should be aiming to win, not just kind of dance around the subject. The efforts on the PPC, missing the mark. The keywords that are being bid on are literally being reported as waste. It's not strong. You can't find the other details of who you're bidding on because your provider won't send it to you. SEO, HTTP versus HTTPS, it's like standard operating procedure for SEO. The fact that this is being flagged still now, I seriously doubt that you just move the HTTPS, and if so, you're already really far behind in comparison to just websites in general. And then you also have a lot of technical errors. So there's a lot to be said with just the search side, but then the social side's absent. So I think that DRI could literally be the best on all of these fronts. The SEO and the PPC just needs better management. And on the social side, there's so many competitors that are not doing, they're just really not doing anything. Bill Author's doing something, but really nothing. But then you have your companies like RoofRx that are just coming out overnight and blowing up. So I just really wanted to emphasize that you're going to have more competition. They're going to be stealing business from you. You could definitely beat out newer companies by being a legacy company, but you have to go up there and you have to be competitive. Otherwise, you will get overtaken by competition. The benefit is it's pretty easy to see what needs to get done. So it's not like a mystery. It's pretty straightforward. So if you have any questions, please let me know. I'm really looking forward to the one-on-one. We try to stay as objective as possible with these reports, but we do a lot of them. And some things we see, it just sometimes can be kind of frustrating. You see this work getting done, and you think, man, like if it was just done right, these guys would be completely just killing it right now. So if you have any questions on this, please let me know.